now that I got a system that can actually do it, I can actually put a graphic intro up. Ugh. Because my old system had a graphic card that sucked mightily. But we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Omega Files. Yes, we finally made it. We're going to talk about the church on Ruby Road. I'm sorry. I know they've explained, but when I hear the name Ruby Sunday, I start thinking of body glitter and singles that are going to leave my pocket and wind up in the thong line of somebody else's. Let's just say I'm thinking of a club with a lot of loud music, particularly by Garbage. Because they tend to be the most popular at those places, but I no longer inhabit those places because I'm married. But okay. Yeah, and the mom's name is Cherry Sunday. Okay. That's like, Ma, what were you doing back in the day? Okay, all right. But getting off the whole name thing, we're here to discuss the church on Ruby Road, which turned out to be a rather interesting experience. That literally went from here to there, beyond, and we even got a cool musical number. But I'm going to start with the bottom. I'm going to let you guys say, look, what do you think about this? What's your first thoughts? So we're going to start with the infamous, the mega famous, and the almost legendary, but not quite legendary, but getting there, Lady G. What did you think of the church on Ruby Road?
I liked it. I thought it was a really good episode. It kept you moving, kept your mind, kept you interested in what was happening in there. But the thing that made me laugh is when they showed the Goblin King. I'm sorry, aka Jabba the Hutt. That's what he reminded me of, was Jabba the Hutt. As soon as I seen it, that's what I thought. But no, I thought it was a very interesting show. Hope they keep up the pace of it. And I didn't know Shooty could sing. That kid's got a good voice to him. So yeah, I liked it. But my favorite character in this episode was Cherry Sunday. Grandma in the bed. I love that woman. I wish I had a grandma like her.
I know she was a bit of a character, wasn't she? Okay, DWC, what did you think of the show for the first episode? I mean,
first, before I actually get on with my thing, I'm just going to comment on something Lady G just said. In that, as far as the singing goes, Shooty and Millie, as far as they're concerned, they couldn't. In fact, when they were informed that they were going to be singing and dancing, they were like, you sure? We're actors. We're not singers or dancers. but yeah, they didn't really. In fact, they didn't even know they were actually going to be singing. As the production was getting up, I mean, they read this bit was coming up, and Shooty actually admitted that he thought, well, we're probably just going to do it in ADR and lip sync on the actual set, and then slowly but slowly the production was coming, and then it actually got to their filming. Right, we want you to sing now. Wait, really? We're singing live, so all that was actually live. All right, let's get to my bit here. And after a long absence, Doctor Who finally returns to its Christmas Day slot, facing off against those Christmas Eve monsters, goblins. Shooty, in his first solo outing as a Doctor, gives a performance of being one of the youngest and most animated Doctors, and really loves showing his muscles. While Millie Gibson gives a great performance of Ruby Sunday as a warm and likable companion. However, Russell appears to have gone back to the trope of making the companion the most important thing in the universe, like the Bad Wolf, the Dr. Donna, and the Impossible Girl before her. Now, Ruby's family don't seem to exist. Also, let's take a minute to think about how Russell actually wrote Davina McCall gets killed by a Christmas tree, but he doesn't make it canon. Another great note to the goblins, who throughout I could not tell if they were puppets or CGI. Turned out they were people in suits. Also, eat your heart out, Mariah Carey, as this disturbing song about eating a baby is the hit Christmas song of the year. This episode was full of heart, warmth, and comedy, but will surely be setting the tone for next year, and I look forward to May. The only problem I have is it was never actually explained what happened to the Goblin ship after the Goblin King was shish kebabbed, and why was Ruby the reason her foster mother became so warm to begin with? So bring on May 2024. And who exactly is Mrs. Flood?
That's going to be the big question everyone's going to be fighting over till May. Just who is this person? All right, hey, Callan, thanks for joining us. What were your opening thoughts on the church on Ruby Road?
Oh, I quite liked it. It was all right. I didn't particularly think too much of it, but yeah, it was a good opener. Looking forward to Mayor from Shooty and his new assistant. I really love the title. Yeah, a lot of questions. A lot of questions, which I'm quite interested in. We'll get some answers to. Some things, you know how it is. They get their questions get posed and then they'll get answered. That's just my opening. Thank you.
Okay, AJ?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad of a story. Just amazed how many costume changes the Doctor had within the first 20 minutes of the episode. It was 4, I think it was. The whole thing of Rose Tyler 2.0. I mean Ruby Sunday. Sorry. Just felt, I guess, a little bit taken back to, like I said, Rose Tyler. She seemed like that type of character, even to the point where she's working in the same store that Rose did as well, which is, I don't know whether it's odd or just RTD's, go-to. The goblins were kind of cool, except for when the Goblin King got the enema, and then for some reason their existence was entirely unraveled and is never explained yet, at least anyway. It seems like we're going into the realm of fairy tales and mysticism possibly this season because of the proclamation that the Doctor made at the edge of the universe, which sort of seems like is just unleashed chaos across the universe in time and space. I don't find Shooty too bad of a Doctor. He's energetic, quite well done. Just love the whole feel of his Doctor, at least anyway. Sonic Screwdriver was not massively happy with. It's basically just a wireless mouse. And Davina McCall, at least the second time that I've seen on TV that she's been killed. The first time I saw was in a TV show called Dead Set, where she got eaten by a zombie and became one, which I kind of like the trope that Davina McCall seems to get killed in almost every show that she's on. I don't know what else to say about this. Who was the woman who dropped off Ruby at the church? Was it Ruby herself from the future? Was it her mum? Is Mrs. Flood her mum or Ruby herself from the future? So many different questions we can't answer just yet, but maybe we'll get them later. Who knows?
I just love the fact that we kind of had a for those folks who remember way back in the ancient times before TV was even in color. I believe it was the Feast of Stephen. William Hartnell breaks the fourth wall. And I died laughing when they had Mrs. Flood's character break the fourth wall at the end. Kind of like, William Hartnell did, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and looking right at the camera. And she's like, oh, he's never seen a TARDIS before. And I'm like, okay, that opened up some major, cans of worms there. Is the, who is this person? How do they know about, TARDISes and things like that? Also, like I said, I found that whole musical number amusing as hell. People seem to think I don't like musical numbers. I'm like, no, I don't like musical episodes where everything from beginning to end, or, like I said, there's some musical movies I can tolerate, but I'm one of them guys who saw Spirited and went, oh God, I thought this was going to be a comedy. But, and boy, did we get a surprise, not even 15 minutes in. But so far, like I said, it's a good introduction. I love the fact they put the Doctor in a kilt. Especially, with Shooty being, pretty much Scottish. He was raised in Scotland since he was 2 years old. And I thought that was nice and innovative. We finally got to see the Doctor in a kilt. Plus, his dance moves are 150%, better than the ones they gave Matt Smith. The drunken giraffe or whatever the heck they called that thing. Yeah. I was thinking about making a video clip of that and just calling it "When White People Dance." Okay. But Shooty's dancing, pretty amazing. He's very fun. He's very energetic. He really seems to be embracing the role. It's just he's there for it, and he's ready. Plus, I love the leather jacket. The costume he's wearing later in the episode with the leather jacket and everything. That's just amazing. And plus, when he's the police officer's trying to take a statement, and then he goes into that speech about, she's going to say yes and all that. I thought, oh God, that's the Doctor in a nutshell. Throwing this guy some good news on Christmas. It just really caught me. So, very fun episode. It was very enjoyable. And yeah, but my only theory on what happened when the Goblin King got, shall we say, steepled, was that because he got unraveled, everything that revolved around them got unraveled. That's my only theory I can come up with it. That's the only thing that I could, think about, because he was kind of in charge. And like Lady G brought up, I kept thinking, oh wow, he's Goblin the Hutt. But at the same time, I can agree with AJ, because we've already been told that one of the creatures that's coming up is going to be the Boogeyman. And I'm like, now we got goblins, we got a Goblin King, now we got the Boogeyman. Kind of makes me wonder just, where they're going with this whole thing. Like, are they going to go total fantasy on us? So it's got me looking forward to the mystery, between, the characters we've been introduced to and, just this little hint of what's to come. But I don't know about you, but folks, how many out there, when you heard about, goblins and the Goblin King, I halfway expected to see, even though he's long ago left us, a certain character named Jareth come bobbing out of nowhere, played by David Bowie, wearing the pants that are very obviously showing something that shouldn't be in a children's movie sticking out. But that's who I always think of when I hear Goblin Kings. I think of Jareth from back in Labyrinth. But I don't know. So let's open up the floor. Anything anyone else wanted to bring up? Just shoot.
Well, yeah, I've got many things, so I'll pause for some bits for us to take place. But you were actually talking about you liked that bit where with the Doctor talking to the police officer. Now, here's an interesting bit. That whole scene, starting from the snowman falling down and everything like that, that was actually put there at the request of Disney, because they took a look at what was initially there, and they were saying there's not enough of the Doctor, or there's not enough introduction of the Doctor yet. And so Disney said, you've got to introduce the Doctor more. So that whole thing is because of Disney. So think about that for a minute. Had that not been in there, what we would have just had was just pretty much those little bits of the Doctor looking at Ruby, somewhat talking to Ruby. Then the only part we would have seen him was him running on the roof chaser as Ruby's on the ladder. Also, one thing, the two kind of things I've got. The Goblin King. We had the whole bit of Lullabelle, or whatever her name was, about to be eaten by the Goblin King. They're all singing about, we're going to eat this baby. But it seems like the Goblin King is going to eat this baby whole. So all I'm thinking is, are the goblins eating is the Goblin King's poop or something? Because that's never completely explained. Also, this is probably a general one for a lot of things in Doctor Who. But where the hell were the Reapers? The goblins were effectively changed time completely. We already established from Father's Day, when you change time, that opens a tear in time. That opens a wound in time, which the Reapers, like bacteria, come through. Where the hell were the Reapers? That's something that's always annoying me about that.
The creatures of myth, I don't think they can fully be realized by the Reapers. Maybe they're blind to them.
Well, a lot of people have been asking that question. Where the heck the Reapers been since season 1, the new series? Because I've been wanting them to come back. I thought that was an interesting concept for a character, and I've really actually kind of missed them, even though they popped up only that one time in Father's Day. So I wish they would come back. Ah,
The idea of them running this into like a fantasy type thing, I think it'd be a good idea. It'd be a different change. And people need to start using their imaginations more instead of asking questions and expect everything to be explained to you. That's what she was given brains for. Use them, people.
I would actually say Russell T Davies has actually said that he's going to go more into the realms of fantasy when it comes to Doctor Who, which he thinks will annoy the hardcore fans.
I know, they're already got their hackles up.
That one scene that you were talking about where they had to introduce the Doctor better, I think they should have maybe left that out because it would have made the mystery of the Doctor more compelling for the viewer who's like new to it to go, okay, well, who's this person? Now he's on a roof running along, chasing after the girl. Who is this guy? I need to know more. I will find out as I go along. Instead of say, oh, here he is. He's a time traveler. He's a man from the future. He knows everything. It kind of ruins the mystique.
Maybe, but I think that's exactly what Disney didn't want. I think Disney wanted the new audience because, as far as Disney is concerned, this is season 1, and I think they just didn't want everyone to be too confused about who this person was.
Also, I think they may have done it because Shooty wasn't there for a big chunk of the beginning of the filming of this episode. Because this was back when he was still wrapping up stuff on the Barbie movie and some other commitments he had to take care of. So he didn't get the set until late on this one. I can't remember how late they said it was. So.
Well, so far, I'm happy with him as the Doctor.
Yeah, I agree. He's not bad.
Yeah, he's definitely given it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
To me, I always thought Tom Baker made the best Doctor because he was kind of crazy doing the episodes. We'll put it that way. I think Shooty is going to follow right in Tom Baker's footsteps when it comes to this. I think he's going to give the show what it needs. He's going to give it the craziness that it needs.
I can see him doing that.
Cut again, though.
Because he definitely has the aloofness, which is what I like. It's.
Would also say, because I was looking at my notes, there was kind of a fun thing that they did that I only really appreciated after listening to the InVision commentary. And originally I was going to say an award for worst costume prop ever were the intelligence gloves, but were clearly just regular gloves with LEDs on them. Originally I thought that was so terrible, until I listened to the commentary, and that was kind of the point, because it turns out what Russell Davies actually wanted to do was that he wanted kids everywhere after the episode aired to be able to imagine their own gloves as intelligence gloves. There was actually a lot of discussion about how those gloves should work. There was even discussion that they should be metal. But Davies was like, no, we want kids to be able to imagine their own gloves that way. I thought, okay, that's actually quite clever.
The one sticking point for me, unless it's a part of the story for the season, is Mavity is still sticking around. I don't know whether that means that reality is broken. I don't know yet.
I think it's just an in-joke that he's going to go along with for the foreseeable
I don't
future.
think it is an in-joke. I mean, the Doctor quite clearly says, the gloves cancel out Mavity, or they can increase Mavity.
But yeah, I mean the concept for gravity has now been changed to Mavity. I think that's just an in-joke.
I think so. Isaac Newton's just picked a different name for it. So there we are.
I mean, though, the term Mavity makes kind of sense, mass, gravity, Mavity, it does work.
Yeah, it does. So anything else before we go on to rate this thing?
I like the string system that the trolls had, or the goblins, had. It was like a network of strings, and you got to find the right string, and you got to pluck it or untie it, and it does something else somewhere else. Like, apparently there's an actual system that really does exist like that as a concept or a real thing in the real world, where like there's a network of strings that can be used for controlling things, which I gotta say it worked really well in the show.
I want one of the goblin stickers for my car.
I'm learning the vocabulary of the rope.
I'll probably just say, as far as Mrs. Flood goes, I know everyone, the immediate thought is, oh, is she someone we already know? I think it's not too far the realms of possibility just say, maybe it's not someone we already know, and we're just going to learn really at the end. I know there are people already thinking maybe she's River Song, because Flood, River, maybe.
Oh, I've heard everything this week. It's like it's the classic. Let me see. She knows about tartars. It's got to be the Ronnie, or she knows about it. It's got to be Susan. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard all those this week.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I was actually seeing Ellie Littlechild on the Who Culture. She was actually pointing out, well, it wasn't going on, but she was sort of pointing out how Mrs. Flood didn't seem to recognize that the TARDIS was a TARDIS initially, but did recognize it later. And I would actually point out, well, she didn't see it dematerialize before. So, but I think that is a bit of a something, because I think that's a good way to say she's not the Rani, because if she spotted that box, she would have immediately noticed it was a TARDIS.
Unless it was like sorry, I was just gonna say, unless it was like one of those Time Lord and hiding things, and their memory only came back once they saw the TARDIS dematerialize. Like the fob watch thing.
Or Saeed thinks Mrs. Flood is Amy.
No, she'd be over 100 years old.
Not to mention she's dead.
Yeah. Also, not to mention the fact that could they get Karen Gillan to come back? So that's the big question, Come on, she's been kind of busy herself, collecting big fat mad Marvel checks.
Plus doing TikToks with Riversong.
Yep. So, like I said, we're just going to have to wait and find out, because I've heard all those arguments where, everybody assumes that something's going to be something, and then they go crazy when it turns out they were completely wrong. So,
yeah.
We've been through how many years of that?
Neighbor, that's all.
But the funny thing is, she reacts badly to everyone, but the second she sees Ruby, she instantly lights up as if she's known her entire life, besides, living next door to her. So there's got to be something there.
Actually, that makes me think even more, because everyone's thinking, to those thinking that maybe Mrs. Flood is an older Ruby, well, again, that makes the whole point about not recognizing the TARDIS make that theory fall flat, because again, she would have recognized it instantly.
Well, you're close, Kosh. Susan was left in the
22nd century.
The 22nd century. I think they said if you read the one book, the Dalek occupation in the series went from like 2152 to 2162, something like that. So yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And the last time, I was going to say, the last time she appeared in Big Finish, she was taken by the Time Lords for the Time War.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to find out, like I said, it's, nice to see we have somebody who's going to be, stewing in the background, possibly as an over arc to find out who they are eventually later on down the line. Gives you a little bit of mystery to toy with in your mind,
I would like to make one more point. This is more of a personal thing, because when Rose Noble was introduced, when we finally saw Pearl Mackie, I was making a point in that one how Rusty Davis was actually tackling transphobia in a way that he didn't tackle homophobia in his original run. And I thought, is this how he's going to tackle everything about trans issues or inclusion of trans characters? But I was actually a bit pleasantly surprised that he introduced as a cameo, he introduced a trans character, and that was it. I was like, okay, very happy with that. I'm just trying to say my initial thoughts were completely wrong. That's all I'm saying. And I'm pretty sure that's how Davis is going to do it. I'm very happy he's doing it that way. And just very happy he's doing it at all.
Okay, is she actually Mrs. Brian May, the actress that plays her? Okay, someone said she's Mrs. Brian May. I'm like, hey, damn, it's like, there's a guy who's got a hell of a resume.
I don't know. I can't remember her name, but she is a big name over here. She used to be in EastEnders, and she was in this rather iconic Christmas episode of EastEnders, which is kind of a big thing about why they wanted her in the Christmas episode. So,
Hang on,
Yeah,
I'll
'cause
look
I
it
would
up
say,
now.
there's a guy, like I said, I was a guitarist for Queen, and now I'm an astrophysicist. And I help identify, deep foreign objects in deep space. I think he's Dr. Brian May now, if I'm not sure, but okay.
Mrs. Flood was played by Anita Dobson.
Thank you.
That's what I thought. I knew the name, the hard drive wasn't recalling it. I'm like, ugh. Every now and then you got to smack it with a screwdriver, Oh,
I can do that.
Yes, folks, back in the olden days, that did actually work. As I had to do it a few times. Okay.
According to Steve Anders, Anita Dobson is Mrs. Brian May.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, because like I said, I've always been a big fan of Queen and all that. So,
and I guess Brian is a knight now, or is a knight, and he's known as Sir Dr. Brian May.
Okay, he's now Sir Dr. Brian May. Okay, thank you. Like I said, I wasn't sure, but like I said, there's a guy with a hell of a resume.
Crazy.
Oh, just something else that came into my mind. Something that's actually, I think, is going to be a real sticking point for the series, and it's Rusty Davis seems to be really doing better with the Timeless Child art than Chibnall, who actually created the whole Timeless Child art. Because now that seems to be a big sticking point going forward, particularly about how that's affected the Doctor. And you even had it with this episode that he bringing up the fact that he's adopted, and it does make me wonder. Well, everyone said, well, the usual suspects were wanting Rusty Davis to completely remove the Timeless Child art from canon, but he's going, no, I'm full steam ahead with this, and I'm really taking it for. Going to elaborate on it.
The saddest part is I warned people for months that was going to happen, because one of the things, like I said, I don't know if everybody remembers this or not, but I remember reading about this when RTD brought back the Time Lords in the End of Time Part 1 and 2. It was meant to be as a one-off. It was never meant to be permanent. And when Moff unwrote the Time War and brought them back permanently, he was, well, let's say, put it politely, pissed. He did not like the fact that Moffat had overwritten, the Time Lord, because he did not want the Time Lords in the Doctor Who universe at all. He just wanted them, gone out, that, so you ain't got these guys with big collars overseeing everything you do, hanging around your neck like a dead goose, basically. And when he found out so that's why I knew that there was no way in hell he was going to go back and overwrite any of Chibnall's work, because he doesn't like it when people do that to him. And him and Chibnall have been friends for years. Heck, Chibnall pretty much ran the whole, second series of Torchwood for him, if I remember right. And, we're talking like I said, everyone says Chibnall can't do this, Chibnall can't do that. So, well, Countryside, which was one of my favorite episodes of Torchwood ever, right along with like Exit Wounds. Yeah, sure, you had that Cyberwoman episode, but also remember we had another episode written by somebody else about an orgasm creature. Okay. So, I can't remember who wrote the orgasm creature one, but like I said, I feel bad for them. But just to say, I knew he wasn't going to override any of it, and he's been picking up on it since the Christmas specials. Especially when Tennant's doctor mentions that he's 1 billion years old, which kind of falls in line with the fact that we know that Time Lord Society had been around for 1 billion years when the whole Dalek Time War thing happened. And of course, the fact the Doctor mentions this week that he's adopted, and he's still coming to terms with that, because he just recently found that out. So I kind of knew that over the course of this series, he's not going to let that die. That, and I think he's doing it to tick a lot of people off. But
yeah,
the whole thing, like I said, he does not like when people overwrite his work, and I knew he wasn't going to overwrite Chibnall's either.
But ironically, as I was saying, I think Davis is actually doing a better job of it than Chibnall, of writing that whole side point that Chibnall did. Which is ironic because Chibnall created it.
Yeah. We got a question from the Peanut. Would you guys like a Loki and Doctor Who crossover?
No.
Nah, I don't think it would work.
No.
Loki's got his... Plus, I stopped watching Loki back at, season 1. It just wasn't my bag. So, like I said, I wouldn't even know where to go with it. But,
no, the world...
Okay, here we go. He's planning a whole universe and spin-offs, then they'll have to bring the Time Lords back, really. No, he doesn't. You had, before he even thought about bringing Time Lords back, you had Doctor Who, Torchwood, Sarah Jane Adventures, all running concurrently, and they were never mentioned. You don't need them. Like I said, it was nice to pop in on Gallifrey back and then back in the classic series, but place was actually kind of freaking boring. Okay, just a bunch of aged old, politicians sitting around going, I don't like that happening. Maybe we should do something about it. No, we shouldn't. We're non-observation. We're non-interference. We got the prime directive like thing going on. But I don't know. I think we should. Sounds like a bad Senate hearing. Okay.
Could I just make a point that Kosh Naranek said, yeah, I technically got that from Ellie Little Child. That's where I sort of got it from, but I was somewhat thinking at the same time she just put it in words that I could understand.
Okay, so let's rate this one. We'll put it to bed, unless anyone else has anything they want to pop up.
Yeah, Moffat did eventually get rid of the Time Lords because remember they were lost to the Doctor. He couldn't find them, so technically he corrected his own mistake.
Yeah, but they were still there.
They're still there, but like, he can't find Gallifrey. Gallifrey's lost to him.
Yeah, but he did find them. Remember?
Yeah, and then later on he went back for Clara, and Clara was like, "Did you find Gallifrey?" He was like, "No, I lied."
Okay, Saeed, do you think RTD will bring Carol Ann Ford back for a Susan appearance? I don't know. I'm not kidding. It's like they're treating Carol Ann Ford like she's Typhoid Mary. She should have been back for the 50th anniversary. Should have been back for the 60th anniversary series.
Well, I don't get why they're doing that. Why did they do that?
I can't figure it out because she's getting on quite a bit.
Yeah.
You'd think, this is an iconic character. We should have had her back on the series by now.
All I'll say to this is I think Russell Davies would like to bring her back. He probably can't. And at this point, the only time you're going to get the character back, it may be through a regeneration.
Yeah, because I know Moffat wanted her back, and then the BBC said no. And then he wanted who else back? A whole lot of people he wanted to bring back, and they said no. Which is why I'm glad when RTD, RTD went to his own way here. He's gone to Bad Wolf Studios and all that, and they brought back Mel, and I'm thanking goodness that they're also writing Mel a lot better, than she was on the original TV series. Same as Big Finish did. They really really expanded her character, and she's spoiler alert, she's going to be popping back up later this season. We already know that.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to point out something Andrew's saying. Tom Hiddleston would make a great Doctor after Shooty's. You are not getting Tom Hiddleston as the Doctor. He's way too famous for that.
You got about the same chance of getting Tom Hiddleston as my dream shot, which would have been Hugh Laurie. It's not going to happen.
Rowan Atkinson, make him the Doctor.
Yeah, but I could see Tom Hiddleston being a guest star in an episode. I'm sure he'd be down for that, but not the Doctor.
Okay, he's asked that evil question, guys. The one I know some people are itching. What do you guys think about 15's sonic screwdriver?
Sucks.
I don't see anything wrong with it. Just because it says screwdriver does not mean it has to be in the shape of a damn screwdriver.
I don't like it right now, but I'm sure it'll warm to me.
Like I said, sorry, Callum, go ahead.
I don't mind it. Sorry, what's the full-fledged freak-hooter with a screwdriver?
Yeah, that is kind of the thrill because, when you think of the Sonic, like I said, you're thinking, like this monster here. Like this is an aluminum reproduction of, I think, the Tom Baker one. And I always carry this to cons, kid, because I know I'm not going to break it. Okay. So, plus it's good at knocking folks in the head if they get in your way. But no, I usually use Lady G to do that. But it's like,
yeah, but I don't carry a cane anymore. I use a walker.
Or, yeah, thank you. Good point, William. Tom Ellis. That's another wish lister. But we know that's not going to happen. So, Lady Neo said that RTD really call. I don't call old Who rubbish. I don't think he would. He's been a fan of the show for a long, long time.
Okay, whoever said that is lying. There's no way
Yeah.
he'd call old Who rubbish.
Yeah, he's a diehard classic Who fan. I don't hear him saying that. Sonics don't have to look like a smaller lightsaber. So okay, so that's
the Sonic should change along with it. Instead of keeping it basic, change it.
And like I brought up before the podcast, remember when everybody was bitching about this thing?
Sonic massager.
Yeah, the Sonic vibrator, the Sonic this, the Sonic. Let's say this end is especially good for doing things we won't mention on the air.
It's got 3 settings.
Yeah. Well, at least
Mike, I agree with you. He's not waving it around like the 11th and the 13th.
Oh, I know.
Well, 10 started that trend.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they were waving around so much that, as far as I'm concerned, they could have stuffed that thing right where the sun doesn't shine. And I said that politely. I could have said it my way, but I said it politely.
Yeah, at least he's not waving it around like a magic wand, like 11 or 30. Yeah, this is Doctor Who, not Harry Potter. Damn it! I know there are some people out there going, "We need to have," there's always someone on your wish list, for the doc. I don't want to make fun of it because there's people out there saying Emma Watson. Are you kidding me? That Emma Watson's worth like $87 million, just sitting there collecting her residuals from their properties from the Who, the Potter movies. I don't think she even has to work again.
Maybe.
So the lady who mentions the TARDIS might be an old unit employee. Very good thought, William. I didn't even think of that.
What, like Liz Shaw maybe or something?
Yeah.
I just still think she's just a friendly neighbor. They can have those in an episode without being.
Yeah, but how does she know what a TARDIS is? You see, that's the key thing. Like I said, she could just be the neighbor lady who's tapped into some weird, top secret government conspiracy site. We don't know, but we will eventually find out. No, on RTD.
Unless
go ahead.
I was going to say, unless the breaking the fourth wall thing is also part of the universe that's been broken, if you know what I mean, like when the Doctor broke the universe by mentioning that thing.
I think you're thinking too much there.
Well, you got to think like a writer like RTD,
Yeah. It's Corporal Bill. How many here remember Corporal Bill?
Oh,
way back in the unit days.
That's something I'm not going to do with this show. Is sit there and try to think like a writer, producer, whatever. I'm going to sit there and enjoy it, and just see what happens.
Exactly. That's what I started to do after a while.
Instead of trying to figure out what's going on, saying, "Oh, this has got to be connected to this. This got to be connected to that." Can't people just sit there and enjoy a show for a change?
Yeah. Sorry, I had to agree with. I'm married to her, so I have to agree. Okay.
You and I are time with that.
All right, so let's rate this sucker. We'll put it to bed because we've been running on here almost 40 minutes. So, okay, we're going to start. Well, since our order got mixed up anyway, let's start at the top. AJ, what did you think out of 10 for the Church on Ruby Road?
I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 for someone finally explain why those paper bags for groceries suck. It's goblins.
I never thought of that. Maybe they're the same ones who get the fast food bags. Yeah, I guess. Okay, Lady G, out of 10.
9 out of 10. I love that Goblin song.
All right, Callan?
I'll keep that 8 out of 10 as well. Looking forward to the future, though.
Okay, DWC? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I run over you?
Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.
That's what I was thinking, too. I'm definitely going to get an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It was a very, fun episode, if anything. It was amusing to watch. It wasn't horrifically horrible or anything. It's I have to give it 8 out of 10. I really did enjoy it.
But I still want the song the goblins were singing because I want to sing that at Halloween.
Yeah, you got to love it when a show gets on Disney with a really spectacular musical number singing about eating the baby.
And make a good Halloween song.
Oh yeah, and for you folks who don't know this, yes, the one goblin was named Janice, but originally it was that goblin was named Janice because they thought the hairstyle looked exactly like the Muppet Janice from the Muppet Show. But then when RTD heard about someone put it together as Janice Goblin, he got a kick out of it because Janis Joplin. So he pretty much stuck with that from that point on. Okay. Well, one last thing I want to mention before we take off. Sadly, Christmas Day, we lost Richard Franklin, who played Captain Mike Yates on the classic series. And I just wanted to give that a mention because, it was, he'd been fighting, illness, and plus the fact, he was getting up there quite a bit. He'd been in and out of the hospital a lot over the last year. And so it was kind of in the cards, but at the same time, it's still tragic to hear. But from what we did hear, he died peacefully in his sleep on Christmas Day.
Well, when we met him at Chicago TARDIS that day, I really enjoyed meeting him.
Like I said, we only met him once, but he was very, very fun. He was fun to talk to. He just seemed so full of life and all
I
that.
wasn't supposed to be in that picture, but him and Katie drugged me in it.
Yeah.
I actually met him once. The only proper convention I ever went to. I was there with some friends, and one of my friends was a budding actor and actually even worked with Richard Franklin. So we got to talk to him at the buffet, which was quite good because we were all at the same table. The rather embarrassing thing actually was that he was so kind. At some point, he actually went out and got me and my friends some drinks, which was great. One problem is I don't drink, so that was a bit embarrassing. My friend had to drink all of them.
Like I said, even though we only met him the once, he just, he radiated kindness. It just seemed like such a warm, loving fella. And like I said, it was just sad that we lost him. But sadly, that's the way life is. We're all going to have to face that someday. So rest in peace, sorry. Sorry, my throat went dry. Richard Franklin, we'll definitely miss you. All right, take care, everyone. We're going to go ahead and sign out. We'll join you all next time when we talk about the next episode. So see y'all probably next week sometime. Take care, everyone. Or wait, sorry, I forgot. Show's not back till May. Sorry, I had to have that moment. So we'll definitely, some other things that we got coming up in the future we might sit down and have a yak about. So just stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you all in the future.
Bye.
Yeah. See you to talk about.
I hit the wrong button. Hang on. There we go.